Good day, dear aspiring IT professionals. The IT world, in its own way, has consumed and conquered almost every area of human activity. It is great that you have chosen to be a part of this world that opens doors to the immense opportunities and avenues in an industry where you can exploit technology to its limits and help enhance human excellence and endeavor. As you take the first steps in this fast changing and rapid paced landscape, it is important for you to remember a few key messages which I would like to share with you from my experience of the last 40 years. First and foremost thing to remember would be the characteristics of usage of IT in science, technology, business, and day to day life. This brings us to the challenges and opportunities faced by an IT professional. Of course, a drive forward to the world of tomorrow, which would be a place of technology and technology professionals in it. Now, how can you plan to be a sustained contributor? Are you prepared enough? Have you planned the journey into this exciting but unknown world? You may be intrigued by the title that I have given for my talk, Towering Competence. I draw upon Tom Peters, a management guru from US, from his book, Crazy Organizations for Crazy Times. You'll agree that we are into crazy times and going forward it will be crazier. In this book, he has introduced the term towering competence in the context of fast changing business environments. And today, technology is helping businesses do things differently, and you're going to have an exciting time there. In such an environment, it's only the people with towering competence who remain employed. People in the middle management positions are extremely vulnerable, and it's very well known that whenever there is a downsizing or business process change, etc., a lot of people seem to become irrelevant and go into other areas, and it's going to be tough unless they are basically people who are actually creating, and that becomes very critical. It's not just the ideas, but also a capability to prove an idea that actually keeps you ahead in today's world. The curve should not just be limited to the theoretical knowledge of the concepts, but you should have the capability to deploy them successfully in a fast pace. It is a byword in the Silicon Valley, California, that it's only those people who put money and those who have the skills to code and create, the technical guys who survive the changes, and not pseudo technical people. Having said that, you have actually set foot in the right place, that is Manipal Academy for IT Education, to acquire the skills to code and create before you pave the path to gain the towering competence as an IT professional. Let me advise you that given the vastness of the digital universe and the way it is exploding, you will have to constantly unlearn and learn new ways of doing things. In Meet, this is what we are going to help you learn. That is the process of unlearning and learning new things to create the new world. You must be familiar with the advanced tools that are coming into the market from time to time and be able to sustain and thrive in this area. As mentioned in the initial remarks, IT has pervaded every single area of human life. So it is best that you invest your time and effort with Meet with all seriousness, and we will make you a would-be competent IT professional. We will inspire you to actually take the leading path on this highway of the unbounded world of IT with great determination, focus, and commitment. Now let us briefly talk about some of the points I mentioned earlier, and I'll detail them for you. The first point was characteristics of usage of IT. I am from an era when computer resources were very difficult to access and very, very expensive. This has changed immensely. In fact, today computer resources are possibly coming down every year by half or even more. And exploitation of this particular opportunity, you have to make it possible. and it has simplified matters for everybody and common man to use it. Even the manner of usage has been changing rapidly, including way money is conceived and transacted. Your role will be to create products that will be used by many first time users who could possibly be even digitally illiterate. But you have seen anybody, even a person who does not know how to read and write, use a mobile phone. And you know the number of things that we can do on the mobile phone today. You have to really think of being able to create such products, not only conceptualize but create such products. Another point that is very critical as you come in this path of IT industry, it will be your responsibility to develop the required technical competence, keeping in mind the unstated needs of your customers. Not always will the customers come and tell you what is it that you should be giving them. You have to really imagine things and do it. You should know that in today's world, the global mindset is critical for survival and success. Possibly you are developing or supporting a global customer. You may not ever get to see or even be able to train that person. So you must really be very intuitive in your approach to creating whatever you are doing. So you need to be sensitive to various of these cultural differences, manner of usage, context, etc. And this learning will also be a very critical thing as you move in this particular direction. Moving on the second point on the challenges and opportunities for an IT professional, it is important to recognize that India is at the cusp of a major demographic advantage. What do I mean by that? We are the youngest nation and will be the youngest nation by about 2020. We will have 65% of the working population in the world in the age group of 16 to 50. That's a huge advantage, as you can see, because we will be servicing not just India, but the entire world. If you know that, your opportunities are immense and you are at the right time coming into the industry. That is not adequate. Yes, you may have one more question that you might have seen somewhere, because rate of recruitment will slow down, etc., has been talked about by NASSCOM and other industry bodies. But even this depends essentially on you, the younger generation. If you shape up properly, you are going to actually increase our share. That what I mean by that, India's share in the world market, and it can even increase the number of people who get employed in this particular area instead of tapering off. So I see that you have a tremendous opportunity to not only become competent but lead the way for the world. You should be aware that growing competition is coming from China, East European countries, Philippines and other geographies in the services sector, and in the high-end market, Israel, Ireland, USA, Australia and some of these countries are leading the way. But as a nation, we have an advantage to lead in both these areas. Another important aspect is you are all very young and you use a lot of apps which you download on your mobile and keep doing so many things which we used to take ages to do. If you really look at it, the ease of use in the mobility platform is tremendous, and internet has made it possible to really transact without being stuck to a single place. E-commerce is another space where a lot of changes are happening, and the landscape of doing business is creating newer opportunities for young IT professionals. But recognize one thing, the competition I referred to is something that you have to work on. You have to learn to work very hard. Second, get the capability to really deliver faster, cheaper. It is important to know that which technology suits what business, what industry. So that is the other dimension that you have to learn. And the third important aspect when you talk of competition is adapting to the constant development and changes that occur in the field of technology. And if you don't have mechanisms within your learning kit on how to identify, how to invest time and bring that into your skills kitty, you can't compete. So remember that this is another aspect that you will have to be focusing on. Those who respond to these changes and situations have nothing to fear. If one looks at it closely, it follows nature's law, that is survival of the fittest. IT world is an aggressive area and you have to understand this. It attracts the best of talent from across the world and people are highly competitive, highly ambitious and very, very aspirational in their temperament and hence will be very aggressive. So, you have to learn to be able to compete hard, compete well, compete politely. But competing is necessary. It calls for agility in learning continuously and be able to deploy them quickly and optimally. Third important aspect in terms of learning is customer expectation that keeps changing constantly and requires ability to work in teams that are not necessarily similar culturally, which would require an open mindset on many aspects. It may be religion, it may be a language, it may be a geography, time of working and many such aspects which vary, and awareness about these aspects is another thing that we will try and bring into your learning kitty. You should have the skill to put forward your point of view with sufficient support information politely but firmly. Note that you have to develop to be an inverted T-shaped person. What do you mean by inverted T-shaped person? An IT professional has to be not necessarily multi-skilled. But when I say a towering excellence, what one means by that, at least in one skill area, you have to be really very tall and be the best one can find in a given environment. At the same time, you have to have horizontal skills, which actually shows the other parts of your competence and capability matrix, so that you are actually wanted by any team anywhere in the world. That's essentially what is a T-shaped person. While supportive environment and opportunity can be created to large extent, it is the fire in the belly of the aspirant that becomes most critical for success. Knowing what you have to be looking like, what you have to be competent, I am sure that you will have that fire in the belly as you go forward. We will try to see how we can bring some of those aspects into your kitty. Coming to the other point about your competence, towering competence, is that in the world of tomorrow and the place of technology in it and the IT professional in that particular world, I have made some comments already, but once again it's important to bring out a few aspects as an emphasis. The future of IT professionals will have to be that of a social engineer and a social scientist, as what they create will impact everyone's life, whether they are in IT or otherwise. They have to think of their contribution in terms of the totality of a solution to a problem which is either localized or spans across many areas and across the world. And that's essentially where understanding the social context in which a particular product or a service will be used has to be understood by these people, how people may react to a particular thing. Another important aspect that I think you should know about the world of tomorrow is that the services and the products that we provide have to be integrative. It is important to be at the cutting edge of technology for new applications. Otherwise, what you create might not have a lifetime beyond 6 months or even 1 year, because the number of times you have to change your handsets, I think is an example, because the kind of features and functionality they bring into the mobile computing space must have really given you an idea of what I am trying to tell you. One should not forget that many stable and secure applications are still residing on legacy technology and applications. These create a condition where, even though it's going to be a little tight, you have to know the legacy technology and applications, because it forms the backbone of most databases and most data stores across the world. So, to know about them for transaction level performance becomes extremely critical. So, don't ignore the past when you are creating the future or supporting the present. Future and past have to come together in the present to be relevant for the society. Development and application of futuristic technology at the right time is quite critical, which a lot of organizations have been striving for. Be a person to get counted in this space by putting efforts, knowing the past, understanding the present, and imagining the future. So, we can conclude by saying that it's important to be an all rounder with at least one major skill, again, the T shaped person. For example, you could be an all rounder in cricket, but at the same time, a specialist bowler, a specialist batsman, or somebody like Eknath Solkar or Jonty Rhodes, who are fabulous fielders in their own time. But it is a team that wins and not an individual. The same is true for workplaces where the problems to be handled are too large or multidimensional. No one person can be a champion without the support of his team. Not everything can be done by a single individual, and remember, the team is going to make you win. Finally, I would like to share some lessons that one has learned during the 40 years in the industry, and I hope these lessons help you prepare and plan yours as they did for me, help you sail smoothly into the exciting world of IT and make you a sustained contributor as an IT professional. Lesson number one: always be an open minded learner for life, be adaptable self learner. Invest in developing into a T shaped person and grow internally continuously. Third, always be socially conscious and become a problem solver who impacts society in a positive manner. Focus on professionalism and not on money. Let money and fame follow you. It did for me, even in the shortages we experience in our times. Work for towering competence and do not have conditionality as a marks of success, because that is going to really make you disappointed and dejected if you cannot achieve it. Keep the edges always flexible. Lastly, I would like to wish you all very well, and we will work very hard and make sure to get the kind of knowledge base and skill set to go into this challenging but wonderful world of IT. Thank you.